already taken the still photos around the vehicle with an emphasis on the door gaps and any cosmetic imperfections. Now, what I'd like to do is just do a walk-around video here. I'll point out some of those blemishes, and then we'll do a paint meter reading using an electromagnetic paint meter. And we'll go ahead and start off let's start off here with the windshield. Looking at the glass, I don't see any obvious cracks, chips, or signs of delamination. Looks pretty good shape. Wipers are intact, and I'll be checking the operation a little later on. Excuse me. There's some excuse me, paint chipping there on the cowl area. Outside mirror is nice and secure, and so is the antenna. So, and then just some little minor surface rust spots there. Let's start off with the readings here. 3.5, 4, 4.5, and 3.5. And these are the thousandths of an inch. So when you see a reading of 19.7 specifically, that's an indication of body filler. And just some more blemishing there. And let's move here to the front. Front grill area looks pretty nice. Paint looks like it's probably been repainted. I don't know if I'll get any readings here. Oh, I will. 7. Okay, that's at 19.7. So it's probably got a little bit of body filler here. Well, I don't know how much body filler it has, but it has some, enough to where I get that reading. The extent of it, we wouldn't know unless you were to sand down the paint to bare metal to see the extent of it, which I never recommend. Looks like the grill, a nice chrome work there. Looks like it's fairly fresh, right? Don't see any blemishes there. Okay, let's get the readings here on the hood. 4, fender, 4, 3.5. Here, just some dents there, and more blemishes. What I like about this car so far is it seems to be like an honest car so far. I don't feel like anything is being hidden here. It's got character to it. What I like to do here is I like to take a look at the side panels, working my way down, working my way up. And what I'm doing there is just checking for dents, dings, and waviness. So from here, I don't know if the camera will pick up on it, but on the door, yeah, there's more dings. Okay, looking at the left front wheel. Okay, I like to always check the spokes. Knockoff is on there securely. Don't see any damage here on the sidewall of the tire. And let's just get a quick view of the wheel well area. I always like to capture as much as I can from as many angles as possible. That way, it's as thorough as possible. Okay, outside mirror. Windshield. Again, no obvious signs of chips, cracks, or delamination. Let's see, chrome is in decent shape here. Wing windows. Again, the trim looks like it's good. I'll be checking the operation on that as well. Okay, chrome here, decent. Get the door readings. 7, 10.5, 5, 8.5. Here on the quarter panel, we can see some checkering here and cracks. Right? And let's get that reading. 10.5, 7.5. Okay, and here you can see where the paint is completely chipped off there. Okay. 2. 4.5, 2.5, 9, 2, 2.5. Again, just moving our way down. This is some more checkering here on the fin. And then let's do a side view here. That way you get a pretty good idea of how this looks. The paint's got a nice, it's got a gloss to it, so it still presents well. I wouldn't say it's concourse quality, but still, decent driver condition so far, right? Looking at the rear, got tail lights. Didn't see any cracks there. Here you can see some more checkering here and cracking, right? Let's get some readings. 3.5, 5, 4. Okay, 19.7, so probably some body filler there. Chrome's gonna need some attention there. And I still gotta check the wheel here. Okay, again, gaps look a little wider on this side, but still, we checked the operation. I got that on video for you. Okay, 4, 4.5, 4.5, 5.5. This side lenses, good shape there. Again, you can see the where it's peeling and checkering and cracking. Right? And get some more readings. 3, 3, 4, 5, 3.5, and 4. Okay. All right, chrome looks decent here. I'll be checking the door locks, make sure the key works with that. Wing windows look good. Let me give you a quick shot of the interior here. I do still photos, but sometimes I don't do the video on this. Right. Outside mirror, nice and firm. Okay. Let's get the fender readings. I think I got them, but I'll just take them again. 3, 5, 3.5, and let's do the wheel well. I'll give you a final view here before I move on to the engine bay area. Okay, we're all ready for the top operation. Okay, we're all good. I always like to get this on video, the top operation. We want to check to make sure that it's not binding. I've already taken all the photos all around, so we have a pretty good idea of the condition. And then we'll watch the linkages. And I know this operation is pretty important as far as there not being any hangups. So right there. Down there. And the final action. All right, so I typically like to get the video when it's been sitting overnight or stone cold, so we can see what first startup's like. The vehicle's already been started probably 2 or 3 times already. I know I ran it for just a short period of time, like 30 seconds to a minute at the most, and I don't know how much it was ran before. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna start it up, and what we're checking for is exhaust. Any type of smoke, whether it be black, blue, gray, white, right? Condensation's okay, but realistically we don't wanna see any smoke whatsoever. But if we do, let's see if it does come out. And then I'll rev it a couple times, but I won't rev it too hard because the engine's still kind of cold. And then from here, I'll walk over to the engine bay area and we'll take a tour. Stand by. All right, so it looks like we had some technical difficulties. All right, so we had a gust of wind that blew my camera over, but as of right now, I'm not seeing any smoke coming out of the exhaust. As you heard, it fires up as soon as I click the ignition on, so it fired up really nice. Moving on over to the engine bay area now. I've already checked all the fluids. Brake fluid looked a little dark, but it's at the correct level. I removed the breather here. Let's see, make sure we don't feel any blow by or any smoke coming out. That checks out fine. Get a view of the belts or the pulleys, and what I'm checking for here is any sense of any wobbling or what have you. Looking at the front side forward support area, looks like it's straight metal. I don't see any signs of impact damage there. Radiator looks like it's new or redone. Right, firewall's in great shape. Again, don't see any damage whatsoever. Engine sounds really healthy. Don't hear any type of noises coming from the bottom or the top end. Actually runs really nice. Moving over to the other area. Okay, firewall, good shape. I've checked the transmission oil, it's nice and pink. I don't hear any exhaust leaks. I don't see any signs of it burning. Here's the stamp on the chassis. I'll have to look at that a little better, and then some markings on the transmission bell housing. I've removed the air filter, took pictures of the carburetor. Okay. And again, this everything looks really nice. Just straightforward there. All is pretty good. Look up my fingers there. Another view of the pulleys. Here's from this angle here. And this time, let's look at the car from underneath. Let me see if I can still open up the radiator cap here without it blowing up on me. And And what I'm checking for here is any signs of cross-contamination or even bubbling, right? Bubbling would be an indication of some sort of internal engine failure, more than likely a head gasket or a crack in the block. So that's all looking, checking out fine. The underside of the hood, again, looks decent. Don't see any signs of any prior impact. Engine's just humming along here. I'm gonna actually let it run for another 10 or 15 minutes because I want it to get nice and warmed up. Also, I want the suspension to get heat soaked as well from the heat of the engine. So when I go on a road test, if there's something that's kind of loose or on the verge of giving, hopefully I can pick that up on the road test. Shocks are pretty stiff here. I always forget to check this. But yeah, it's nice and firm. Yeah, not bad at all. So it shouldn't feel like a boat when we go for the road test. I'll just take one look at the gauges here. Okay, reading at half. We'll keep an eye on the coolant temperature to see if that moves at all. Let's see, odometer. Let's see here. I'll get still photos of that. And I think you had told me that the clock's not working. Nice to have to go in here and check all the operations. And go ahead and moving on. So when I'm checking these classic cars, to me the way the door opens and closes is really important. That already tells me a lot about the car. And what I like about this, it's pretty solid. What I check for is make sure the doors don't drop. I mean, it's the slightest little drop there, nothing significant where I've seen them drop like an inch before, which is an indication of worn hinges. But as far as the closing, nice and solid, right? So that's nice. I've checked the operation of the seats. They do work up, down, forward, and backwards. Let's see here. I just noticed when I did this side here, it just cocks just a little bit. So it might be like a cable adjustment, but it does go back and forth. When I'm here, I still need to check, obviously, the brakes and see how it drives. But I've set the parking brake already, put the car in gear, and the vehicle does not maintain in place. So the parking brakes did need some attention. I always look at the door jambs, pillar area. That tells us a lot as far as any signs of rework, what have you, cracking there. And I got the data plate there. The mats here are glued down, and I always like to try to see the floorboard if I can. That's as much as I was able to lift. Here are the seats. You can see some cracking where it's been dyed, and it's just kind of deteriorating that way. Here, same thing. I was able to pull it a little bit here, and just checking for solidness here. I've got my temp gauge here because I verified the operation of the heater and blower fan. That does work. But as far as, I felt some coolness, but as cold as it's getting, it's about 70. Oh, I saw a reading of 75. 77 right now. It took a while to get that reading after, running it for about 5 minutes. So just be mindful of that. If you know about the radio, it didn't work. Mirror here is just a little loose. Probably needs to get tightened up, but I'm not going to mess with it too much. Gauges, okay, coolant temperature gauge is working, or at least it's moved, right? Horn, check that already. Okay, that worked. And then the windshield wipers, they worked as well. Okay. So moving on here, dash. This wing window here on the rear, it works, but so that's going up, going down. That's gonna make me look like a liar now. But earlier I couldn't get it to go down, but I just moved the angle a little bit, and that seems to work now. So if you take delivery of the car and you run into any issues, it's gonna be a little bit of an adjustment at times. Okay. Moving on here. All right, I didn't have any issues here with the glass here. I did notice, and I took pictures where there is a gap when this windows are completely open. Okay, again, let us make note of the doors. Okay, and nice and solid. And I put very little effort into that. Okay, and then another view here. I messed with the aftermarket radio. I typically don't, but seeing how you asked, I tried to mess with it a little bit, and I couldn't get it to work. It's powered on right now, AM, but I messed with it and nothing. Radios are so cheap nowadays. You can get a really nice one for under $200. I like to see that the light does work in there. And I tried all the functions here. This is working. Here's the remote for that radio. And then I took another shot of the carpeting there. pulled it far back as I can. Door jambs look like they're in good shape. Wing windows, I checked the operations; those are all good. Even the sun visors. Right, and then seat works as well. Forward, backwards, up and down. Check the seat belts; those all engaged. And here's it. So I've been road testing already for the past couple of miles now, side to side. I switched off Wodalic so I can just do a brief video and just do a quick narration. So on initial acceleration, transmission is shifting seamless. It's really smooth. Engine has a great acceleration. It moves and it's responsive. Again, I don't hear any abnormal noises. I also checked while driving, hands off the steering wheel. It drove straight, and also when applying the brakes, I stepped on the brakes, hands off, and it stopped straight, so I didn't pull to the left or to the right. I don't hear any clunks or clinks while we're going over bumps. Suspension felt pretty smooth, with the exception of when we go over some bumps and or like the driveway, the front end is clunky. So I can feel it and I can hear it. So we're just driving now. Here's a quick shot of the speedometer to show that it's working. And here he is, again, he's coming to a stop, and you can see that he's not fighting with the steering wheel. It's just stopping straight on. And we're going to continue here through the light. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and just, wrap up the video. If I notice anything different, I'll be sure to update it. But as of right now, that concludes the portion of the video.